Meeting for the town's 250th anniversary will be Wednesday, April 9th at 6 p.m. at the fire station. They are currently looking for groups such as scouts, churches, etc. to participate in the event. Please reach out to Lisa LePage for more info. Please attend the next meeting. You can reach Lisa at 651-1594. Town reports are now available at the municipal building and the town website. The Appeals Board has 2 vacant seats to fill. Please reach out to the Select Board admin if interested, 793-4475. The Planning Board has an open seat to fill. Please contact the Select Board. And as a reminder, if you're speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. And as part of the hearing a citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public will be tolerated. During any meetings, please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information. Visit www.limerickme.org. Okay, we'll move on to old business. We're going to skip through here the sign appointment papers for Ashley Dame. Was he one of the ones we voted on?
We approved him last week.
We just need to sign. Okay, we'll sign that at the end. Okay, and any additions for the June ballot? It's due to the town clerk on 4/11/25. Need to know if we have anything to put on it. And it has to, what did you say, next Friday?
Well, yeah, so it's due the 11th. We kind of need to have concrete what we're going to do. I need to start that warrant, and if there's anything that's money related that needs recommendations, we need to give time for the budget committee to meet. So we really can't do it all next Monday because that's not enough time for them to meet and have it to the town clerk by Friday.
Okay.
You do have an email from MMA that I asked. And then there were 2 others. We know the Historical Society does not need to go on. And then these 2 articles here were in question.
Okay.
Or 2.
All right. So we don't need the CEO one?
I don't know if we're adding that or not for sure.
Okay.
You have an email back from MMA on that.
Oh, okay. Didn't get that one. Discussion of the treasurer's request. Where is it?
That was the one that Julie proposed that you got at the budget committee meeting. Thank you.
The budget on the front page is what was originally put in the budget, my $106,000. That has been passed and approved. If you go to the next page, you'll see what would be a budget that I have to increase your line by $20,688 due to an increase in a deputy treasurer's wages that I was told to do, and the part-time deputy that we only have a total of 20 hours, which was in the budget for last year. The deputy that works Monday and Tuesday with me went from $29.09 to a wage of $40 an hour placed on it when she came to take my place while I was in the hospital with a broken back, as well as my heart surgery. She was placed from, as I said, $29.09 to $40 an hour. She has reduced her hours. Originally in my first budget, the deputy was in for a lot more hours. She only wants to work 14 hours. So that changes her salary to $29,120. The other deputy, as the state mandates that I can have as many deputies as I need, is only for 6 hours, so that's the same 20 hours that's been in that office well long before me. And by her, she only gets $23 an hour, and that's $7,176. Your FICA and Medicaid increased, and also the deputy's vacation increased because of that $40 an hour raise. That increase made it so that there needs to be an additional $20,688 with the budget it stands, because I only put in the budget for what the deputy treasurer that I had before my injuries and accidents was only in there for $23 an hour, and that's the budget that passed. Other than that, the other things stand. The treasurer's salary is right. The first deputy's salary will be $36,296. The second, the two of them will be $36,296 versus a $24. The FICA and Medicaid goes up to $85,22, and there is the vacation for the three of us that has to be figured in the event that they take it in additional to their hours or whatnot, but that's what the vacation adds up to. So that's an additional $20,688. The budget that you had before you was presented, and what John wanted me to put in for hours was an additional $49,363. But if you go of what I've got here, what actually the ladies want to work, that's reduced down to $20,000 and change.
Did your original budget have no vacation, money in the vacation line?
There was no talk of putting in, no, it did not. Because originally I presumed that it was going into the benefits line and not into my budget, like the earned paid lead was taken out of my budget and put in a baseline.
How much vacation did you put in for, Julie?
Mine is got for 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
That was when I can't say much because it was during an executive session. That was agreed on when I was elected. And Laura gets 4 weeks at the 24 hours. Mine will be 4 weeks at 37 hours.
That's a lot of vacation for being here for a year. That's a lot of vacation.
That was the agreement that we had with the selectmen.
So Laura's getting the same,
Excuse me?
Laura's getting the same as you do?
4 weeks because she's coming back to work again, and they're entitled to by the personnel policy to start where they were. Technically, if she had come back and I could have been here, the salary would probably have been about $30 an hour with that increase because she had $29.09. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it because she's been a great asset to me, especially in the history of this town. Because there is nothing in writing. I had no cross-training. That was cut from the budget when I was elected. I know the budget committee put it in, but they said it was cut. So there's your job and have fun. I'd really hate to see, I know a lot of people are complaining about what I'm doing, but I'd really hate to see what somebody would have come in that had never done a treasurer's position before. I'm not blowing my own horn, but we've done the best we could, and I'd also like to give you folks, I have copies, I promised you at the last meeting, what the auditors have said in the past, and so that you will have it and can read it at your convenience, because I started asking for help on March 20th of 2024. I was elected on March 5th of 2024. Before an executive meeting, I reached out to Ron Smith, the owner, and I sent him a copy of one of the acquired properties and said, this is what we're working with after the property had been sold. Look forward to seeing you Monday. This is worse than you ever alluded to here. Thank you. I know it can be straightened out if we're dedicated to getting it done. They have moved money around, and they've moved it around. they, being the selectman and Laura, but Laura only did what she was told. I found that out afterwards, and then I said, have a nice weekend. I can't tell you anything more because the rest of the meeting was held in an executive session. But these I can give you copies of. This is what I had with me last week.
Did the Board of Selectmen actually give you 4 weeks vacation?
I asked for it and I was given it, sir.
Wow.
Because I took such a substantial cut in pay to do the same job.
You got a substantial pay raise, you got $20,000 a year pay raise.
That's what I was earning for this job, sir, and more. With 19 years experience, excuse me, I've got to grab one more. Wait a minute.
Yes.
I was hired by the town of Sanford, and when I started, I didn't ask. I did not negotiate. They gave me 4 weeks vacation to start, and I had never worked in municipal government before. So I think it might be a common practice. It's not a common practice in manufacturing, which I have experience in. You have to negotiate everything, and you usually get 1 or 2 weeks.
I had to work 15 years before I got
Right,
4 weeks.
but it's not uncommon.
I can't fathom how,
This board did not do
I'm having a
any.
hard time fathoming how the department, or the town policy says 1 week, 1 to 2 years, 1 week. You got 4, and then you got the huge pay raise because you were making something somewhere else. You accepted the job here for what it paid. I'm having a hard time fathoming that. That's
Well, I
all.
think elected officials don't always go by the personnel policy. It's, it's in and out if you read some of the guidances on it. So they're not the
Where does it
same.
say in the policy a schedule for vacations?
Under vacation. All right.
Obviously, but
Vacation
which one
privileges?
is it? We've got so many different
Would-
policies flying around
It's the
here.
personnel policy.
Okay.
Julie, can I ask a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I feel like I should fix these if this isn't correct. Back on
What you looking at? Look.
minutes that I
Okay.
did, March 3rd, when you spoke, I have you saying you have 4 weeks vacation as of March 5th, you would earn another 4 weeks, meaning you have 8 weeks total. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
No, you would have been correct, but it was used for my illness and virtually, so that's what I used 4 weeks while I was out. So you weren't paying for a dead horse. And I also worked at home once I was discharged from the hospital. And I think a couple of us selectmen can verify that I was in here working on Christmas Eve and on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and like that. And I was told to go home, but I said there was work to be done, and I didn't mind doing it. It goes with a job, this position, you have to do what you've got to do to get it done. We, as I showed you, and you're finally should
No,
have.
I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that that was accurate,
Yes.
that it was 8 weeks.
Because
for
I
the
asked when
second year.
I also asked when I got it, whether it was my anniversary date or the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and I was told at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, so it's 8 weeks.
As of, there would have been, yes, as
Okay.
of this year's elections.
Okay.
But I'd already used 4 weeks of it.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure that the minutes
Because I was
were.
told that I'd been out for 2 months and I only missed 20 days after having back surgery. The largest disc in my back was broken. I have not asked for anything that I was not told to in a meeting of an executive session that I was entitled to, because no money was allowed and was cut out.
So are you saying you've used 4 weeks of vacation time while you're out for your injuries?
Because I heard that this office was complaining that I was paying out for 2 months. I did not have to use it by state law, but I used it.
And are you saying you still have an additional 4?
I got 4 when I came back.
So it's 8 weeks
on the
total
beginning of the year by personnel policy.
right now.
Well, you can only carry over, by personnel policy, you can only carry over half of your eligible vacation. So if you were eligible for 4 last year,
And I
let's
was,
assume that's,
do whatever you want,
No, I
kind
know, I
sir. You made a deal.
why don't we do, no, I want to do the facts.
The
So
facts
let's-
are, I'm an elected official.
Yeah, so let's talk under the facts. You
Can I
claim,
make a suggestion? Follow your own your policies and conduct, we have to sign a statement on the policy of courtesy to everybody. Is that still go for the selectmen?
absolutely.
Then the abusive treatment that I got last week definitely doesn't follow the guidelines that I read.
Because you're questioned on your office and how the money's being handled and looking for answers,
No, that
that's
was.
abuse? That's abuse?
You look, okay, would you like me to bring in somebody that doesn't even live in this town and used to, and what her comments were to me?
No, because I don't care personally myself. I like to deal with facts, okay? So you said you had 4 weeks of vacation for the 2024 calendar year. Is that accurate?
Yes, it was part of the hiring package.
Okay? And you, by policy, you can carry over half of your eligible vacation. That's in the policy, I'm reading it right here. So how much vacation did you use last year?
None, because I got hurt in January. So that's still, you have
Hold
30
on.
days.
2024. How much of 2024 vacation did you use?
None,
None? All
no,
right, how much vacation time were you paid for in 2024?
none.
That's not true, because you took a check for your vacation time towards the end of the year. You took a check for your vacation
All right, so
time.
I'm sorry, I don't remember. Yeah, okay.
Then you
Yeah, 'cause
attempted.
you gave me
hold
the
on,
devil.
Hold on.
I attempted to do another one,
Then
but
you
I did
attempted to do
not.
a second one, and when it was caught, we said
Let it go.
you can't.
But you let somebody else carry that time.
No, we carry their time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can deal with if somebody else, and I don't know what you're talking about. I honestly don't care. I care about what our policy says and what you did in 2024 and what you're expecting in 2025, because it's important. If you had 4 weeks coming to you, you say you took none, but you were paid out for at least one, that meant you had 3 left.
And
That means you-
technically, I do not have to use it for sickness. Technically, by the elected policies, you don't have to use it. I can stay home and do my work for nothing, but that's not me. If you want to count all the hours that I have worked and wasn't paid, I don't want to get into a pissing contest, to put it bluntly. I'm doing a job, and I know there's certain individuals that don't think I am, and are doing everything to get this position on a recall. And I can honestly swear to all of the public, I'm doing everything by the book, and I will gladly show the books to anybody that would like to know them. If I have the information, it's at your disposal. Whether it be during working hours or after hours, I work for the people of Limerick.
Okay.
And that's by that job description that I showed you. You told me I don't, that I'm the same as you.
You can continue on and keep going and going. What we're dealing with here is your budget. And we're trying to figure out,
My-
do we need to put on the June ballot more money to make your budget work? A big part of your budget is vacation time.
No,
So-
sir, the big part of the budget is Laura's big raise from 2909. Excuse me just a moment. My young lady that works 6 hours, and with Laura, that was a reduction, and with Laura's addition, That is an increase of $11,773. The FICA is $1,471, and the vacation is $7,444.
Which you consider not a big part of your budget.
I did not consider it, no, because we had talked about changing lines,
That's fine, you don't consider 7,500 a big part of your budget,
but
that's
I
fine.
would have put it in, so that's an increase, because I saw that you didn't include any of the others. Because Stan gets paid for, excuse me, I can't say names, another department gets his and takes payment for it. He's got payments for other items that have been paid for out of his salary line, other than just vacation, and been allowed to use vacation time. I know that information because I did the payroll. I'm sorry that I forgot about that first. There's no excuse for it, and I apologize.
Julie, I have a question. What does Sue do?
She's doing my check recs, and she's doing anything that we need that is time-consuming. Laura doesn't have the time. Originally, I had figured Sue in for the full 20 hours. And then Laura came back, and I've convinced her to stay with me for 2 days.
Okay,
She doesn't want any more than 2 days a week.
but we have another issue here. We've got to make some adjustments in the books. And I don't see this reflected in here anywhere as far as what it's going to cost additionally to do that, or is that?
Sue's not going to cost.
Or what's the time period on this? Because every week I hear, we haven't, like, we run into it tonight, for what the balance is in all these accounts. And I've mentioned this many times, both you and your office and in here. We've got to get to a point where we look down at those books and say, this is what we've got, come hell or high water. And right now, we can't do it.
No,
What
you
I
can't.
want to know is, when is the time period, what time period have we got till we get to that point?
If I was included in the communications to the auditor, I would be able to answer that. I call up and say, and I'm already told that that's already been established. I do not know
What's been established?
when we're going to do it. Karen can't be in here because of personal reasons. That I know for a fact. But you ought to have everything that goes to the auditor ought to be shown through, also CC that department, the Treasurer's Department, because they are as responsible, if not more so, than the Select Board of the finances.
What do you need the auditor to do for 2025? They got a lot of work to do in 2024. What are they gonna do for 2025?
I've got to have the figures for 2024 to know what the carry forwards are. You've got to finish 2024 before you can start 2025. 2025, we're putting in the elected official, the elected budget right now. We've got it over half done.
The only thing we carry forward would go into the unassigned account.
No, it isn't, because you've got other things listed here. You're taking it from one to the other. But the
So-
budget is being put in. We're up beyond the fire department. You asked for that, and we are doing it. We wanted to wait till this audit, this one was voted on, because you can only switch the money from TRIO once. And we have got it, as I said, we're about over halfway in, and we just started it Friday afternoon.
The operational budget for the town for 2025, to operate the town, the 2024 numbers have absolutely nothing to do with that. How we operate for 2025, everything now has been voted in as of tonight. We knew in March at town meeting what most of them were. Now we have the rest of them. So
You'll have
how does the auditor have anything to do with putting in our starting numbers for 2025? And you start with all your budget numbers, then you take out your expenses and you add in your revenues. Correct?
Your revenues are up to date and posted. Your expenses are in there and posted to date. We are working, as well as our own everyday work that we have to do, to put in the budget. As I stated, It's over half done, and we just started it Friday. You also wanted all these lines deleted. That was just started Friday. You will have your figures. You don't start another budget usually until you close out one completely, and you know if you've got to make any justifications, all your journal entries. I have no idea. I know some of them because they wanted it a debit and a credit. The credit was in the revenues, the debits in the expenses. Two different accounts. You right here tonight stated you want them in one account. They don't want it that way. I used to do it before as a treasurer, one account, but they don't want it that way now. Whether that's part of the Gatsby laws, I do not know, because I have not been afforded the opportunity since I've walked in this door to work with the auditors. The only time I have seen Ron was in an executive session. I have to this date not even seen Karen. And she's promised that she's doing something with Judy and myself and somebody on the board for the tax-acquired properties. That has not been done at this date. I do not know with my title how much power, how hard I can push them to get it done. And I have not been afforded the opportunity to know what the selectmen have reached out and given to them in emails.
Well, I think it's about high time we have an executive, do an executive session with Julie, the four of us, the five of us, and the auditor.
Thank you.
Get this written down so we know where we stand, because one person's saying one thing and we get some other information, and I want to get it done in one meeting so we know where in the hell we stand.
Thank you.
Because this can't go on.
But what I gave you from the auditors,
But by the same token, we're also talking, we're going back to 2021.
that's what he said.
So we've got to start there.
And I know
work ahead
nothing about that,
and
Howard.
make whatever adjustments there is, but
Yes, sir.
we can keep talking at these meetings, pardon the expression, till hell freezes over. Let's get it all in a room and talk this thing out and straighten it out now.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I got another question. If the auditor doesn't like the way we're doing something, if it's still within the law, if we're his customer, he should listen to us. If it makes your job easier to carry the balances, why do you have to do what he says? I don't understand this.
All right. With, as far as your undesignated fund balances, that's, I believe, is in an ordinance that was voted on. I would much rather myself like you to see a designated fund balance. Therewise, it shows you exactly what you've got when you're starting the next year. Then you don't have, like what you were asking questions on your articles when I walked in here tonight. You would know what was exactly there, but it's up to you folks to make it something the town has to vote on.
Because it would carry the balance over like we used to do and appropriate what we have to. You know, you shake your head all you want, Gail. We make 900 different entries here and it doesn't work.
You're gonna make more. You're gonna end up with, tonight we had 14 articles that we took out of one. So you're gonna end up with 60, 70, I don't know, 100 lines. You're gonna have, if something does happen, you have to have a special town meeting like we had tonight to make up your deficiency every time, for every line that it happens. And
We never had every line before. I know people, you combined the articles because you didn't want so many articles, and then it's not transparent enough. If we have to have 70 articles like we used to have in the town report, I don't
More than that. I've seen
I
over
don't
100.
see the big deal with that. People want to see what is there, and I realize I'm new here. I'm struggling to grasp onto this just a little bit, and I don't think I'm the only one in the room that's struggling to grasp onto it.
I'm a firm believer in the carryover balances. I don't care what that accountant says. For the simple reason, wait a minute, Gail. For the simple reason, when we're going to town meeting and we have the town reports and we show a carryover balance, that means that they have spent that money.
Yes.
and then we're asking for a certain amount beyond that. People want to look and say, hey, did they overspend last year, or did they have a balance? As opposed to starting from zero and going again. All you're doing is saying, okay, everybody, we're starting from zero, we're going to give you another $150,000, go for it.
But look what happened tonight. Every account that we carried the balance of, did anybody say, we're carrying $40,000 in workman's comp? Why are we raising $40,000 less? Everybody tonight agreed to carry those balances that we had, take it out of the unassigned, but nobody said, wait a second, if all this money is left over, why are we budgeting so much? Question never came up once. Never came up. We've got accounts that were apparently, according to some people, grotesquely underspent, and there was money left over. But yet, and many of these people, their argument was, you're now double taxing and you're overtaxing the people. But yet, not one of them said, if you got $40,000 left in your insurance budget, and you're budgeting $80,000, and you budgeted $80,000 last year, why do you need twice as much this year? Question never came up. So you can do it that way.
But we can't sit here, John, and a townsperson asks us, how much do you have in that account? And we sit here and look at him and say, I don't know.
Because she can't tell us.
You got your reports, sir.
2025 and 2024 end of the year reports.
Yes, sir. That's all I could give you because
And we
I
haven't had
haven't
one
been.
report, we haven't had one financial report for our condition for 2025.
No, sir, because all the figures are not in there.
By state statute, how often you to report, by state statute, how often must you report the financial condition of the town to this board?
Whatever.
What is it? You've been at 19 years. What's the state statute?
Where I came from, I gave it
No,
to them.
I don't care where you came from.
Will you
I
let
don't care
me
where you came
answer,
from.
please?
You don't have to answer.
Okay, then I won't answer your question.
Okay, go ahead, answer.
Which is it? Can I answer or not?
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. At least I'll be courteous.
Go ahead.
Every week, and no, you have not got it. So why should you have it if we haven't got the figures in for you? We have been working our tail feathers off down there to try to get it done, as well as our own work. We don't just put figures in. There is other work that has to be done daily.
Okay. Is that the answer to my question?
You will have it once the budget is in there.
So-
You will get it every week, guaranteed.
Can I ask a fairly simple question of a person with 19 years' experience? According to state statute, how often?
Monthly, end of
Incorrect.
month.
Incorrect. Incorrect. But
That's what we were trained to do.
You say that you've done this for 19 years. It's a simple rule. It's a state statute.
In 19 years, I gave
anybody-
it to them every week.
Anybody can look it up. But yet, we haven't had one all year. You gave it to your last job every week. But yet, what did you do when you worked there? You didn't give them anything until March, April, May.
Our budget started June to July.
Okay?
All right.
And on July
to
1st, you
June.
start over.
Yes, we did.
Correct.
And we used the designated fund balance, all of it, so it carried over. They had asked me they had told me, what reports they wanted. You folks never answered me in any of the reports that you were expecting. Neither did you my predecessor.
Okay. All I can tell you is, in an hour and 40 minutes, you failed to honor the state statute of giving us reports every 3 months as required by the state statute. We didn't get January, we didn't get February, we didn't get March.
There's
Tomorrow's
nothing
April
there.
1st. Tomorrow's April 1st, and we haven't gotten them.
I'll give them to you, but they're not accurate. The figures aren't in there. What do you want us to work, 365 hours every 24 hours? We worked in there nonstop to do the stuff. We had problems with the payroll. I sent a message out to Brady to let him know what was going on with the payroll, because he's the chair. And I answered the questions to the chair. You did not get your figures because I am not going to produce figures to this town that are not in where that I can swear that they're right. You do not have your budget. We just got the figures tonight. We're going to be working on that. Laura will be here tomorrow. We're going to fix you by visa, and then we can start on this. That isn't something that happens like that.
So you just said you don't want to produce anything to this town
That isn't, that I can't show.
Accurate? Is that not, can I paraphrase by saying not
No.
accurate? Okay.
I can produce the reports that are there. I cannot swear that they're accurate, no more than you can take that town report and say that those figures are right. You have a part in the description, the front of the article from Ron Smith that states that's not the end of the article, the end of the budget. It won't be done until the year end. They give me all of the journal entries that they are doing. The fact being that I did not know where anything went because you've got no documentation on where the money due to funds go.
So I'm going to ask you a very simple question. This has gone on for a long time, and you've answered a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm a dartboard.
Okay, you've answered a lot of questions, and I won't deny the fact that I've seen you in there late at night and spend a lot of time in the office.
You think
I
I'm
don't
in there
think
twiddling my thumbs?
Well, I don't think I've once heard you say that any of our issues seem to be your fault. It's the auditor, it's the old system,
I'm only as good as the information I've given to put into the system. You don't ask somebody to put a diesel engine together that's never done it before. All I could post the documents, give me the look. All I could do was post the documents the way they had been done before. I had no guidelines, nothing. There was no cross-training because the money wasn't there. You folks cut it. So I was flying by the seat of my pants. And I did the best that I could do with the information that I have been given. You have a balanced trial balance. It's right balanced. So that's the biggest thing they always ask for. Your trial balance is balanced.
We have 4 funds in our general ledger, right? Fund 1, 2, 3, 4.
The due funds are 3 of them. Then you have your general fund.
Right, general fund, and then there's 3 more funds. Okay, would you say that Fund 2, 3, and 4 is mostly designated? It's the capital projects?
Should be, but there's no documentation on any of them or where the money came from or where it's going that I've been given.
I agree with you, absolutely. And I know that often I had conversations with grants and contracts that I would go to Laura and say, well, that's not, somebody didn't get paid. And I said, well, you've got the contract, right? And she'd say, no. I said, you don't have the contract? That's your purchase order. That's what, so we don't have that in an SOP, okay? Because that's not part of, I don't think that's part of the purchasing policy. We didn't say, we've got to send these documents to the treasurer. Okay, that hasn't gone on for years, and I know that. So then I would go get a contract and make a copy and give it to Laura, okay? As far as not knowing where the money's coming from, you can trace back, when you have time. I know you got lots of time there, kiddo. Okay, to do this. And so there's some more work to be done with SOPs. And it doesn't matter if Julie's the treasurer, it doesn't matter who's the treasurer. But Fund 2, 3, and 4 is designated. But there's an inconsistency in Fund number 1 because that's where your franchise fees are. And that's definitely designated because I wrote the legislation to make it so. So that's an exception to the rule. So the other thing is carrying balances. You have to wait for that computer to flip over from one year to the next. That hasn't happened. But I think, help me out, you can put the budget in, and you can pay the bills, and you can see the difference between that in 2025 without closing the year. So she can do that, Howard. Okay, have we got the money yet? You've got to close the year before all things are good. So I've asked this question. When am I going to be able to sit down? You've promised that all department heads and people that were running projects in 2024 could sit down with Julie and the auditor and that person that had some kind of responsibility or knowledge. And to me, that's the key question for our auditing firm, because when Judy stood here the other day, a couple of weeks ago, she indicated that they didn't know what to do without more information. So that's key. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
One more, I'll bet.
Sit here week after week after week, and if the treasurer, the tax collector, whoever it is, if the board sitting there, everybody, no, I won't call everybody, but has all the information that they need, and they know what's going on in this town, and they can run this town, well, if they'd share their information with the department heads, and the department heads can also share it with the other officials. Maybe if we played nice instead of being in control of everything, that we could maybe get things straightened out and nobody would be backstabbing and bullying someone when they don't have the information to get on paper. Everybody, why isn't she meeting with the auditor? Who in this town would meet with the auditor if it wasn't the treasurer? What's the selectman got to do with an auditor? Tell me that.
Any of the selectmen have met with the auditor? Have any?
was calling?
No? If-
You sat right there and said you talked to the auditor the other day.
You just said, meet with the auditor. Is a phone call or an email to the auditor?
Yeah,
That-
any communication,
All right.
the treasurer should be included because that's her job. That's not your job. Your job is to give her the information to work with, not sit there and bully her just because you can.
Steve?
Yep, Steve McLean. Probably a half an hour ago, if we can back up, refresh our memories, we were talking about vacation time. All right, so we got two board members, all right? Once again, when I think before she was hired and when she was hired, it's been documented a million times that she met with the board in executive session. So we'll never know what was said there, but evidently the prior board said you get 4 weeks vacation, okay? We have another department that works 15, 20 hours a week, and how much vacation time do they get? We're just not consistency. We have our personnel policy, and then all of a sudden we have a secret meeting with the selectmen, executive session, so nobody can talk about it. We come out, oh, you get 4, you get 6 weeks, and no consistency to it. You know, Bernie, you shook your head because of this, and I'm saying, yeah, because you didn't know about it. It was in a private meeting. The prior board did this. We have to live with it, and for good or bad. You know what I
Of all
mean?
people should know, just because somebody says something doesn't make it true.
Well, evidently we've said it now for the last few weeks that she got 4 weeks vacation, so I guess that's what it is. No one's disputed it last year. So, you know, it's just, like I said, some of these things that go in the meetings, why don't we go by the personnel policy when we hire somebody? Right across the board. That would be a strategic way to do things.
What did she give you, the budget committee? You were on the budget committee.
Yes.
What did the budget committee approve for vacation time?
I have no idea. I don't have anything with me right now. It was a whole year ago.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the documentation's got to be there.
And this year, when I went to the budget committee, it went in at 0.
Because I was under the assumption it was going to the benefits.
Okay, Howard and Bernie brought up about meeting with the auditor. Is that something we want to discuss, or?
I don't think we really have a choice.
Yeah, well, you're right. So,
We'll have to sit down with the auditor and Julie and us and get a better understanding as to what's going on. You know, and if you have to bring the department heads in on that, bring them in. If we gotta get the figures out, because this is as clear as mud to me. It really is.
The selectmen, budget committee, and the treasurer.
Well, it should be with them to start with, but if you have to bring the department heads in so they can say, look, these entries don't go here, they go somewhere else. We gotta figure out where the money is.
I think you guys have to have a conversation with the auditor, and you can bring it back. Don't mix it all up.
Exactly.
Get your baseline set.
okay, well, we'll have to find out if they're available.
I think we ought to make them available. If we're paying them, I think
Well,
they
if
put us
we're-
on the back,
yeah,
well, I think they put us
We're
on the back
paying them,
burner.
but where are they?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, tell them you want to meet.
Tell them you wanna meet, or let's find somebody new.
There's, you got it.
Well,
There's other auditors out there, these people know how to play.
I hate to be blunt, and I'm no financial wizard here, but we have to get this straightened around. In all fairness to you people, us, Julie and everything, this has just turned into a big cluster.
Amen.
It has. You know?
Say, call up Smith and say, we're gonna meet such and such a time, be there.
Yeah, if you can't be there, then I guess
Be square.
we find somebody else. I don't.
Seriously, I mean, the tail shouldn't be wagging the dog here.
Give them a couple of dates and say we're going to meet.
All right, we,
Well, let's,
So let's finish this out.
everybody has his email. Who wants to contact the auditor?
So one of us should do it.
Let Brady contact. Brady's the chair. That's Brady's job. Let him contact. There should be one person from this board, not several people. Go through the chair, and we'll sit down and try and figure out what's going on.
But he's not here, so.
well,
He'll
it'll be relayed.
He'll get the
So we want
information.
that meeting within a week.
I think we want it by the end of next week at the latest.
Alicia, can you send an email from the entire board? Like BOS is the, can you send one from that email address?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can send it from mine and CC the BOS.
Shoot, we're straight from Brady.
I'm happy to let Brady know. I'm sure he's watching.
I'm sure he'll do it. I'm sure he'll do it. I think it should be the chairman of the board, and if he's incapacitated in any way, then it should be the vice chairman. It should be the chairman that speaks for the board and sets it up. My opinion.
All right, well, moving on, sunset articles for Hollandville. And we're still on the June ballot.
Not to beat this, but are you adding anything for this? Or are you not? Are you waiting? What, like, we are on a time crunch with this information.
Okay.
Especially it is money related, so it will need budget committee.
Okay, moving on to new business. Sign the January 13th meeting minutes approving Brady Connors to go on the town checking with the treasurer.
I have the paperwork. Brady and I have not got together yet.
Okay, all right.
You
That would
wanted,
also have Judy's on it.
did you want the board to sign off on the meeting minutes when that was voted on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so that's what you guys have here. You have January 13th meeting minutes where there was a motion to add the chair of the board starting in March after the election on the town checking account.
I can't sign that. I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. That's it for new business. Hearing of citizens.
Hi. Senator Collins, as we mentioned last week, her office called and said the earmarks for 2025 are gone. They're not going to happen, even though we had our $1.6 million for Deepvale in and approved by appropriations, and it was in the budget, but the president didn't sign it and negotiated it out. Senator Collins' office is asking if we want to put anything into year 2026. The deadline is April 14th of this year to put in an application. They do that all the time. We are presently working with CDBG in Augusta. We are well positioned to get $1 million. It's not a done deal. We have to revise our Deepvale project to just Emery Corner and resubmit it, but they're telling us to do that, and we're well positioned to get that $1 million. I don't know if there'll be something thrown into the wrench, but that will take care of half of the Deepvale project. I've been able to talk to Joanne. This is the blood isn't dry on this email, okay? I've sent emails to the rest of the committee. I did talk to Joanne. We think we would just let Washington do their thing for a year, and we'll stay away from them regarding Central Avenue. And next year at this time, we'll be able to have talked through Central Ave and put in. We don't want to rush it and just throw something together and frankly spend money doing it, which we don't have. But we're going to ask you, do you want us to get that ready and put in for an earmark for year 2026? And it's due April 14th to Senator Collins' office. And it will require some tough work to get done, plus work that has to be done on our part as a committee. What's your pleasure?
What does everybody think?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was talking to these guys.
Okay.
So you would need, just for the committee to get together and figure out what you needed?
Well, as I've said, Joanne and I have been able to address it, and both of us agree that we would not put in an application on April of this year for 2026. We'd wait one more year and do it then. Okay. And we would all, but that's not, the whole committee. I just can't get to everybody fast enough. But that doesn't mean that you won't overrule us. So we want you to know that.
So you put it on the back burner for a year.
Yep.
That's one. That's two.
I think that's a good idea, because having filled out one of those grants, it's 67 pages.
Yeah, it's fun.
And you give it to this person, and I've said this before, if I gave it to Gail, you're supposed to get an answer in 2 weeks, you call up in 2 weeks. Oh, yes, I've looked at that, Mr. Carroll, I've looked at that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've turned it over to my assistant. So you call the assistant up, yeah, but you made changes as you were directed, but now you have to change it back. That was a game.
The average is 4 months.
We went through that for a year. Vinny and I went through that for a year.
Yes, but you got $1.8 million.
Yeah, we got $1.8 million.
So a little aggravation.
18 years of your life away, too, to get it.
Just a little aggravation, Bernie. We did the same thing with the water and sewer district.
I know, but you worked hard for it.
Well, yes, we did, but we got $1 million out of that. So, we're thankful. And if we could serve the town that way, and we're glad you and the team at the fire department did the same. So I got 3 votes. Are we good? All right. So we'll let Community Dynamics know, and we'll continue to try to get Deepvale off the ground. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse because I know what time it is. We need to know if you are adding to the June ballot. If you are not adding, like one way or the other. Are you adding a sunset article? Are you adding CEO vehicle? Are we adding anything from treasurer, or are we not? I hate to beat a dead horse right now, but our time frame, like we have to know what we are doing.
You cannot sunset Hollandville.
Okay, great. Cross that one off.
Has there
Love
been
it.
an email going out to all the department heads asking them?
No.
I would do that.
Do you think it is
But give-
in our
but-
best interest to ask the budget committee to plan maybe for a meeting next week? That we might have an article and then we may not? I know they're,
Well,
I
I think,
would like to not go at them last minute, but
but getting back to the department heads,
Mm-hmm.
put a definite deadline, date on it. After that,
I'll reach out to
Forget
them
it.
all tomorrow. These few things that are here, are we bypassing or is there still discussion?
Okay.
I have a problem putting the CEO vehicle on the ballot. It was voted down 3 weeks ago. I tried to get it to go on this meeting. We voted it down. Sorry, I just can't support that.
I agree. I can't either.
Okay.
Okay, great.
There's only 2 of us.
Well,
It says
it's a
email.
start.
Did anybody read, what email did we get from MMA? I didn't see it.
I read it. His insurance covers some and the town covers
Yeah.
some too. He's not out there hanging on.
You have that email from MMA about Stan's vehicle.
Okay.
Let's talk right there.
I'd say it was just on there 3 weeks ago. I mean, in all honesty, he should, I mean, a town our size, every other town except for one there, they have vehicles for their code enforcement and everything, but where it was just voted down 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so there's 3. Treasurer's request. There's still lots of questions on this. Are you backburning this? Where are we falling with that?
Huh? What's everybody's thoughts?
Don't hate the secretary.
Huh?
I said, don't hate the secretary.
We have to get in crime coverage.
That's talking about the bonds, like I asked her about bonds too.
Okay.
We can bring that up next week. We're on the Jeopardy question right now.
Well, budget committee, it's better to cancel than to try to get them together. Just my thoughts. Too quiet.
Are we gonna discuss that article with the budget committee before we decide
Well,
to put it on?
We should.
I think that's just where, like, I just need to know, like, we need to set that meeting up. We don't meet again until Monday. So the warrant is due Friday. So we
A week from this Friday, still?
the 11th. I just don't want to go at them on Monday with a meeting and a warrant last minute.
Thursday?
But if you're not putting any questions on that aren't money related, we don't have to have the budget committee. That's where I'm at. I just don't know if you're adding this or not.
Well, we just talked about, we don't have an idea about what we have for money. So this, if the account gets overspent, we can have a special town meeting to add the money. I mean, we don't have to do this now. We can see where we end up. Maybe the audit's done in a couple months and we don't need 3 people in that office for the rest of the year. I don't know. Maybe, payroll is now parceled out.
And we're doing just as much now as we were. Laura made that comment today. You have to run all your reports for you to see that, yes, they generated them, but they still have to be manually run. We're taking pictures of the timesheets, and we have to run the checks here. They're not coming from them. If there's any changes, they don't want to do it the way we were doing it. For instance, this last week, 5 checks came back. Right from the bank. The bank told me that the bank, MRI had updated their system, okay? And that's where the changes came from. I called Trio. Our office, Laura or I, never touched any of these people's reports at all. There's this report that shows it. I mentioned that to MRI. They said, no, you had to have done it. Well, they took a payroll from 3 weeks ago, say, that was perfectly all right, brought it over to last week, and we got 5 checks back. Transition of numbers, live checks were cut instead of direct deposit, and it said it right there because I looked at the files. But you know, I'm working with her. I didn't argue or anything. I just let it go because Bill had told me they told them that they had done a new program. So that took a lot of time to get it rectified and let each individual employee number. But we're doing what we've been asked to do, and hopefully it'll get better. But the office down there is running all of your reports that you're seeing in this, as well as the checks in this office. Maybe it's only half an hour to 20 minutes to run it, but it's still time-consuming that we always used to do it.
How many employees do we have that was having the payroll company do?
Right now, Howard, I can't give you money, but I'm going to say there's at least 70. There's more when we have to...
70?
For your per diem.
Fire department.
Your fire department.
Isn't everybody direct deposited or supposed to be direct deposited? Like we mandated that, and they're only supposed to be getting a paper check if they come back at us with a reason that they have to have a paper check, which is that they're incurring a fee when they are withdrawing their money, which would only be like if they get their money on a Chime card or something to that effect.
Even Chime isn't charging them.
Okay, but so...
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but
So do we have how many though, like when you say pay, like they should be, like our employees are supposed to be direct deposited?
Yes, ma'am, but not all of them still are. There's maybe 6 still aren't.
Okay.
And when the bank redoes them, that people that are direct deposited, they cut them a live check.
Okay. But so right now though, the board passed that in the policy that
Yes, ma'am.
mandated. Okay.
Yeah. You're right. So, but that's what we're fighting down there to get correct.
Well, if we're going to ask for a meeting with the auditor, we ought to ask for a meeting with the payroll company because we're paying them a lot of money with the idea that it would ease up on the treasurer's office, and we're paying them $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year, and
How long have we had them, John?
Just since
the beginning
January.
of the year.
It's brand new.
Laura jumped in with both feet when I broke my back. And that's why, it was, and so did Alicia, God bless her, and, trying to get it done. They got Judy involved too, I found out after the fact.
I make a
Sorry.
motion, we have to ask the board chair to reach out to Municipal Resources Payroll, and that they send a representative to meet with us and the treasurer in executive session to identify potential deficiencies in the process and what we can do to streamline the process and get our money's worth out of it.
I'll second that motion. There's gonna be trouble when you get a new company coming in anyway, but we oughta, they've been in it for 3 months, we oughta sit down with them and see what the hang-up is.
Thank you.
All in favor? Okay. Okay, Gail.
We have a new trio system that came on board. Was it January when you flipped it? Yeah, and so the data's in the cloud. So that means that if you have the authority, you can sign on from a computer right here and inquire if you have authority. You could also have authority to run a report, but you must have authority to do that. So that data is at the point where you, and managers do this every single day, every single hour of the work week, okay? This is not an odd thing, but at least you should be able to have somebody other than the treasurer's office, who's obviously very busy. You should be able to run a report at a certain time that they say you can do it, and it should be every week. CEOs demand things to push a button and have things display on their screen every single morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's the way the world's running. Okay, we'd like to see it once a week and have somebody push a button and do that. As a taxpayer, I think somebody could do that. And all of the structure, all of the infrastructure is in place. All you need is your security officer to give you inquiry or give you the ability to run a report. And you need to be taught how. Alicia could learn, but you must work with this lady right here to know when, okay? And she can set a date, a time, Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every week, and we can put it on the internet for you, and you can bring it up on your screen, whatever you want to do. Just know that the infrastructure's there.
It would be a week behind because of your warrants right there that you're signing tonight would not be posted till tomorrow morning. So you'll be 1 week behind in your financial report that you will have from now on. Now that you are asking for them, I will make sure you want detailed, or are you asking for summary? Or you want both?
Summary?
Summary way?
349 pages.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Julie, I got a quick question. When you guys get a new trio system, do they offer you any training that,
Very minimal.
well,
And
isn't that part of the deal? Usually when you get an upgraded computer system, you either can do a FaceTime or they send a representative here and work with you. They always did where I
They're
work.
full-blown. And they're on the budget website, which you don't have your password yet, there is a brochure from Trio that gives everything they do. They have classes, they have online classes, they schedule them, they do it all. They're in Waterville, but you have the web. They
I
have
know,
web
but
access,
wouldn't
they
it
do
make
all.
sense that the people that use it get the up-to-date training?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, it would make sense to me.
It makes sense.
We originally were supposed to have them come down here. They did a Zoom, because I think we did it on your
Yeah.
laptop on a small screen for all of us to look at, to do. And this new cloud is not as user-friendly, and you can ask any of the girls, Laura, Dee Dee, any of them. It's not as user-friendly as what we had in SQL, but we have to use it because they're not maintaining SQL updates. It's going bye-bye here soon. We were forced into doing it as quick as we
So
did.
why don't they come down?
That's normal.
Why don't they?
That's normal, what she just said. Software continually gets updated, they make enhancements, it's part of your job, you have to learn it, you don't like it, people complain and bitch all the time.
Yeah,
It's the way the world runs.
but why
And
don't
it's
they
not
send?
gonna go back, because you're not gonna go to Green Sheet.
No, why don't they send a representative down here to work with you people? It's pretty hard to work over a computer. Sometimes if you got 3 or 4 people around, you get a little intimidated. Why don't they send them down to work with the key people that have to, you can shake your head. I don't know why, we're paying for service. I don't understand why we're paying for a
There's only
service.
so many people to do it, okay? Yes, you can get them here once or twice, but they offer training and you can ask questions, they've got support, they do all the things that any other software company does, okay? You have to belly up to the bar and do it.
Yeah, they gotta put, I've been told they have to put a ticket in. They gotta put a ticket in. They may get a call back at the end of the day. They may get a call back in a couple days. That doesn't work. If you're trying to figure something out, you kinda need it then.
Have you tried to get a dentist lately? You know, there's only so many people. You do the best you can, and they're doing the best they can. If you don't like the software company, get another one. This is the bottom line.
Vernon, I will say on the tickets, and as you heard that from the girls here, yes, because we're still fighting with your selling of the property. And the state is, everybody that's working with Trio is having the same problems that we are here. But unfortunately, the girls have fought hard enough to get it, that right now supposedly Limerick is one of the few towns that can do it, but even if you call the state with their own fancy software, they're having a mess holding breaking this down when they're selling the product. None of this is true, and over half of the texts are not in this country.
I believe that.
And I've only got one that I deal with,
I just,
but that's the truth, where the bear shits in the woods.
I understand, tax from outside the country, trust me. I understand that, but I just don't understand why we're paying a lot of money for a service and we're not, it doesn't appear we're getting what we're paying for. And I don't understand a lot of this.
I had one ticket.
I don't think so.
In that
That's
office.
like a yearly.
It was over 3 months before, and that went back when my first deputy was here, Mrs. LePage. And we ended up fixing it ourselves, but we could see what had to be done.
Okay.
Okay, Audrey?
Sir, mine's on a different subject, if I can have permission to speak.
Okay,
You can finish this one first.
all right. Anybody else hearing as citizens?
Audrey Walsh. I just wanted to bring up, when I was younger, I was in the Lyman area, and the town municipal building was paying like students or minors to pick up the sides of the road. I just didn't know if we could bring that up with you all or not, or if I'm wrong, that's totally fine. If we could bring that maybe for April vacation for some of the students or minors in the town, or if not, that's fine too.
You said like credits for,
Well, like April vacation, when I was younger, they used to, I don't even know how much it was paid, I don't even know how much I got for the week.
65 cents an hour.
No, it was a little bit more than that, sir, but I don't know how much I made, whatever. I've been doing it with my boys because I homeschool them now. I do it for community service. I don't know if there's any program out there that we could bring up for any,
I don't know anything. We can look into it for you.
I know
Okay.
some of the I won't say masons, but some of those guys, different groups that have certain roads that they take care of. I don't know which ones. I believe
Legion
Route
does.
5 is covered by.
And Lions does.
Sure.
Lions does it
I know
on
it's
my way.
one group that does it, but
It was just a suggestion, it's fine either way.
No, we're not, we'll look into it.
Well, I think that we've had some seniors before for like community service for their hours, like that they're required to have. Like I think Joanne's had some at the transfer station before. So I wonder if like it could fall under that. I don't know what, maybe I'm just speaking out of turn, but what the liability is if we ask kids to clean up for community service and something happens to them on the side of the road. I don't,
I'd have to
you know
check
what I mean?
back
I
in
don't
with Lyman
know.
to see, I don't know.
I think it's a great idea because I've
April
noticed.
vacation, we used to get paid a
Yeah.
little lump sum, but
Because it's disgusting. You're absolutely right. Like the sides of the road right now are,
snow's not helping either, but.
no. But I'm happy, like if the board thinks like something community service wise, I mean, there are a ton of seniors that need hours. Know if it's just designating, like if we have some spots that are worse than others, if we would sign off on it. Usually it's just signing off that you have seen it happen. So I would be happy to reach out to usually there's a teacher that handles that at the school, but just direction from you guys on that.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
oh God, geez, maybe next week we'll make it to Monday.
Yeah, Steve McLean. So, about 4 weeks ago, the prior board voted not to sell any more land because we didn't know where to put the money. So tonight we sold some land, so where's that money gonna go? That way there, it'll be money coming into the town. It's the same thing, they voted not to sell any land.
No, they didn't
Okay.
vote. Brady said he would not recommend as a board member selling anything else until the tax acquired stuff was
Settled.
figured out.
Yep.
But that was it. It was never motion second, and then they did
Okay.
the motion to sell.
So with that being
Well, I just want to
said-
make sure it wasn't a vote. It was not a vote.
Different animal.
Okay,
There's
so
no-
can we
so-
continue to,
There are no back taxes out on that building to have to deal with.
right,
There'll be, the buyer is gonna pay all the closing costs, so there'll be no legal fees.
right, but where's the money gonna go, I'm saying, because we didn't know where money would go from.
It has to go into the capital reserve account.
Okay,
That's,
so the
that's,
treasurer will put it in the capital, so that way there we won't
it
have it
belongs,
going someplace else, is my
according
point.
to our housekeeping articles,
Right, all right,
that money, when it comes in, goes to the capital reserve account.
and then next, the follow-up is when we're gonna start selling some more of our property. Because I see out by my land there on 160, the sign is still up for the Nichols property. And I know we said we weren't, but is there a timetable? Are we gonna wait till you guys meet with the auditor?
I mean, until Trio and the auditor and the treasurer and the tax collector and the special liaison to the board can have a system in place so the money can come in and be accounted for properly, we can't keep,
Right, no,
it's just a
that's
snowball
fine.
rolling, right? We
Right.
can't just keep making that problem bigger.
Right. And at some point in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably start having some answers.
Yeah, and I think
And
once
then we can
once
move
they're
forward.
comfortable, once the treasurer and Judy are comfortable as to how they are bringing that money in and how they're posting it, at that point, no reason to move back out and get another list and start selling stuff.
That's all, okay.
Okay, let me
On-
correct myself because I'm on air. You're right. They did vote for that when Casey was here. I'm talking about last week when Brady started.
That was totally different, that's
Yeah,
fine.
well,
No,
his
I'm just
motion
saying.
to add it, that's all.
Yeah, okay, because now it's 11:05,
Well,
so
I know. Just want to make sure.
motion to adjourn.
For motion to adjourn.
Hold on one second, but on the same note, just for full disclosure, I don't know why, when, where, how, or why he did it, but I did receive a message from Craig Allen, who said, it was through Facebook, he's a citizen, who said, I want to offer, you have a 13-acre parcel for sale.
13 acre.
I don't have any idea what he was talking about, but
Well, we don't have anything for sale right
I know
now.
we don't, but I don't want him to come back and say, I made an offer to the town, because he said, I just offered the town real cash, 13 acres the town is looking to sell, I will pay 20,000 cash to the town for it. So that's just so if, I don't want to say he came back and say, I offered the town $20,000 to John Medici and he didn't bring it up. I'm telling you, all the information I have is right there.
You can move that to next week's meeting.
It's in the record now, so.
There's only 13 acres, John, from one on the dog road to 11, and that's already been spoken to. Well, not in the day,
Yeah,
a large one.
doesn't make any difference. I mean, if we put something out for sale, it'll go out for sale the way we did the last one, so.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Thank you, everybody.
First fucking